Okay, hungry for food, right? Okay. Anyway, so I wanted to talk to you guys about the Percona, what are we doing with MongoDB, and where we are going. So first, where do we really come from? For almost 10 years now, we have been really helping companies to be successful with MySQL by providing that number of services, support, managed services, consulting, training, and by creating the open source software for MySQL. Our approach is what we see ourselves as a solution company, not software company. So we don't really just support whatever software MongoDB creates, but we look at the broad support for what it is in the MySQL ecosystem. In this case, right? So for MySQL, that means we support MySQL, Percona software, we support MariaDB, Amazon RDS and Aurora, Google Cloud SQL, basically wherever you can see as a part of a big global MySQL ecosystem is what people use. And our software which we create is 100% open source, so we don't do like open core, some special enterprise-only version, and so on and so forth. Now, where do we stand at MongoDB? With MongoDB, we entered into the market about a year ago by acquiring a company, Tokutab, which has been vendors of Toku MX product, pretty popular for high-end workloads and in MongoDB at that time. And we are applying with pretty much the same approach by really helping you to be successful with MongoDB by using 100% open source software and really embracing the open source community and supporting all the software which exists in MongoDB ecosystem. Now for MongoDB, we have right now our support, our managed services and consulting. We don't really do training for MongoDB because I think there's a lot of great online training available, at least to cover basics. Though some custom training, right, if you want, let's say, your staff to understand how to optimize the queries as they apply to your specific environments, that's we often do through consulting services. Now specifically, I think it's good to mention a couple of important services we focus a lot, both for MySQL and MongoDB. One service is what we call it Percona Care, and this is essentially much more proactive version for your support. What we find is support is often seen like as an insurance. Well, if something breaks, people will to go and ask support how to fix that. What we see though is if you really want to build a true success, right, and have an application performing well, being secure, using best practices, you need to make sure you have a relationship on ongoing basics, right, where you build a partnership from end to end, and that is what we do with Percona Care. Now, for some of our customers, they say, hey, you know what, running database is too hard. We would much rather focus on what we do best by building our products and sell that kind of database plumbing and janitorial work to somebody else, right? So in this case, with Percona Care, Ultimate is a great fit where we can manage your database for you, in addition to helping you to manage database yourself as you get to Percona Care. Now, another thing which is important for us is, we believe, same as Kim was talking about, there is no silver bullet, right? There is no just one technology out there which solves all kind of every problem. This is one of the reasons why we added MySQL to our portfolio, and we really work very close with our customers, finding what exactly is the right solution for them That's maybe MySQL, that's maybe MongoDB, that's actually maybe something else. In which case we would be happy to refer our customers to find the better solutions for that problem, right? But as a company right now, we focus on those two technologies, MySQL and MongoDB, which we believe cover very well both kind of relational world and your kind of non-relational document store. So what are our plans for MongoDB? And I'm going to talk to three aspects of that. The software, the services, and what we're going to do in terms of our engagement in the MongoDB community. First, the software. Our goal is to really provide the best open source MongoDB kind of software suite, right? And the open source is a key here. We well understand what we as Percona is much smaller company. We haven't raised $100 million of venture capital, and we can't put as much engineering, the resources as MongoDB does. But at the same time, we can focus on providing the best open source software, and if open source software is important for you, if avoiding vendor lock-in is important for you, then we will offer more in the Percona software package than you would get from MongoDB Community Edition, right? And we believe is through that we can cover a lot of the most important needs which exist in which are not really covered well by MongoDB open source software. Our focus is going to be in the same focus on the greatest points of the MongoDB community, which may not be the same as we had in MySQL, right? So, for example, as Colin mentioned, the MongoDB does things like replication and sharding very well, right? We don't have to have those kind of additional clutches, right, or whatever as we have to use for MySQL. But there are other things like backups, like monitoring, where we don't see a very good open source solution as of yet, and that is what we are going to focus on and invest in. What we also are planning to do is really to embrace the community innovation, right? We don't want to do everything at Percona, right? And we are planning to work and include as much as work by the other parties as possible. So, for example, we are including the MongoRocks storage engine in Percona server for MongoDB. There is tremendous amount of effort there, right? And we don't, waste our time reinventing the bicycle. And I think it is important for us is to focus really on the best technology that is available out there, and not ego, right, of us as a company, some our individual engineers. So, for example, you guys may know we have acquired Tokotech and the faculty storage engine for MongoDB. Yet, as we look at that over here, we see what the MongoRocks and RocksDB, that is where momentum is going. Facebook and all those other third parties put in a lot of development in that. And we decided to focus on that storage engine for optimized workloads rather than Percona MT. And that is the choice that we are always ready to make if we can stop somehow project because there are better some community projects or projects by third parties. We are always doing that, and we have a long history of doing that in MySQL as well. For example, taking Oracle features implementation and rolling back some our changes we may have spent a lot of time implementing. Another thing which is important for us is we focus on operations and understanding how do you really run MongoDB for demanding workloads at scale, right? We want to see what we can do in terms of performance, stability, availability, security, right? For example, you saw that Vadim showed benchmarks in terms of wire target, which can start for 10 seconds. Well, if you're really running demanding application, then stalling for 10 seconds is not good enough, right? If you are just running something low performance website, you wouldn't really run into those problems. Finding solutions for these kind of problems, whether that means changing the code, right, or wherever it's going to be, some configuration best practices is going to be a lot of focus for us. We also want the software to be easy to run at scale. Again, that may be automation best practices, right? Some other scripting that's going to be our focus. At the same time, we want to make sure what we are limits the application visible changes, right? So we're not saying, oh, we are going to add a lot of new kind of functions, repairs, and so on and so forth. And why is that? Well, because we want to make sure our software is 100% compatible with MongoDB, same as we do with MySQL. So you should not be fearful. It's kind of going back and forth, right? You guys should be it should be very easy for you to go and upgrade to Percona server for MongoDB, and then, for example, enable MongoDB storage engine, which will be transparent for your application, and they will just hopefully run faster if that's the right choice of storage engine. And then, well, if you ever say, hey, I want to go back to try this, new MongoDB version or something, you want to make sure your application also can be taken back, so you feel much safer working in it. So for Percona server for MongoDB, as I mentioned, this is our software which is 100% compatible with MongoDB Community Edition. We don't change, we don't remove, any features, right? So for your application, you should be able to remove MongoDB, install Percona server for MongoDB, and that will continue running, right, as before. At the same time, we add some of the valuable enterprise features to that. We have already pluggable authentication and origin, which Chris will talk a little bit later. We also are working right now on in-memory storage engine option, right, which is also available for the enterprise edition only if you look at the stock MongoDB. We're also planning for a number of performance and operational improvements later down the road. And you can see what in our version we are taking pretty close the current MongoDB GA. So we have Percona server for MongoDB 3.2.7 is available. And 3.2.7 here exactly runs MongoDB version. So we want you to very clearly understand when we speak about 100% compatibility, what exactly the minor version that is kind of compatible, right? Because even between minor versions, there are intended and unintended changes which may impact the application, right? Another important piece is Percona monitoring and management. And this is our open source solutions for monitoring of MySQL and MongoDB. And I think this is a very important for us, because a lot of folks come to us and say, hey guys, you're doing amazing work in Percona, only if you would have some alternative to Ops Manager. And right now, actually, we have some solutions through our partners. The server line, the cloud control can be very good replacement for Ops Manager, right? For management and monitoring. We have some folks using Vivid Cortex solutions for the performance monitoring, but we also want to make sure there is some open source solution available, at least to cover the most common needs, and that's what we are working with. And I will talk more about this tool in my other presentation. Now it's currently in beta, and it has a relatively basic support for MongoDB monitoring. But I think it's already pretty cool, and it supports a lot of unique MongoDB features like support for sharding, for replicated data sets, understanding all those kind of differences. Another problem what we see is really some way for having an open source backups for MongoDB. So we can get the really consistent backups for sharded MongoDB deployments, right? If you have a single instance, there are some good open source solution, but not really at a large scale. So that is what we are working on, both for kind of local and cloud backups. And this is something that David Murphy will be talking in more details after lunch. Another focus for us is MongoDB security, again, without requiring the enterprise edition. So we have auditing and authentication implemented, and that's Chris is going to work that. And then we also are looking at the best practices, what we can do in terms of data at rest encryption to avoid requiring enterprise features. And this is a problem actually Object Topic has solved for many customers, and that is what Tim Banks is going to talk later today. Okay, so then what's going on in services for Percona? Well, when it comes to support, we are see for a lot of customers tell us, hey guys, we love your support, you proved your worth right in a MySQL market for many years, but in MongoDB support that comes with a number of the extra tools which are not open source, which you like, right? And that is frankly something we can't provide. But we are both working with the partners for alternative solutions which you can use, as well as internally to provide the open source solutions out there. We, for us, in terms of service, continue focusing on the quality and value, right? And that is I want you guys to recognize, because the companies like MongoDB or Oracle in case of MySQL, they have this enterprise version of the software to sell. There is a lot of log-in in a software, right? So in their case, a lot of that is a focus as a main driver of why you would have any new subscription. That is not the case for us. You know, we kind of have to earn your love every day, every month, right? For you to stay with us and continue renewing, because all of our software is open source. That is mean which requires us to be focused on the service quality and value, like a few companies in the industry. We also plan to support for MongoDB Atlas deployments, right? This is a very new, obviously, right? So I can say, hey guys, we have a ton of experience out there, but that goes towards our approach to supporting what exists in the ecosystem and what is the most popular solution, right? Same way as we support Amazon Aurora and Amazon RDS for MySQL. And well, you know, our goal is obviously for you to embrace the Percona support from MongoDB and say, oh, that is absolutely fantastic, right? Now, what are we doing in managed services? Now, if you look at, there is a lot of companies, think Amazon RDS or even MongoDB Atlas, right, which are focused on the completely automated service delivery, right? The database as a service. We think that is wonderful, and that can reduce a lot of the low value activities from DBAs. But that does not eliminate the need of DBA completely, right? You still need somebody to advise you how to design your schema, what will be appropriate deployment out there, and so on and so forth. And that is what we focus on. In Percona Managed Services for Percona Care Ultimate, that is a relationship, not just a technical solution. And we see folks who really run important applications out there they often value that. Again, what is important here is what we run for our managed services is also based on 100% open source software, so we don't make it painful for you to leave, right, if you want to hire your own DBA, right, because you have grown so large it makes sense for you, right, or wherever. And we work well in terms of both standard I would say we are planning also to expand investments in making sure we offer a very kind of standard option, right, at a lower cost, addition to our services, which can be very custom, right? We can really support their the wide variety of MongoDB and MySQL environment, but that's also makes it more costly and complicated part of it. So what are we going to do with community? Well, obviously our plans are to be contributing to the MongoDB community. And which way are we going to do so? One is the MongoDB is to be really the first-class citizen on Percona Live conference. So we had this year the fair amount of MongoDB content in Percona Live in Santa Clara. We have a very significant amount of content which is to come in Amsterdam as well as at Percona Live Santa Clara. And what we focus on in this case is not the kind of just new product information which you can get from the MongoDB open world, but really focus on a lot of going into the details by practitioners and kind of really to facilitate the honest discussions about benefits and drawbacks of technology use, right? Or what or where, when you want to not use certain things and work them around somewhere, right? And so on and so forth, which I think is an extremely important for successful use of MySQL scale, right? I mean, for MongoDB at scale. I think that is very interesting example in this case from MySQL. We have folks on Facebook using MySQL for a long time and talking about it, right? And when you talk to those guys, right, I felt those guys, it's kind of absolutely hate MySQL, right? I mean, they know about so many problems, right? They can have those kind of countless examples where it didn't work, that is broken, right? But they, at the same time, are one of the best experts in the world of running MySQL at scale, right? Exactly because they know what are the problems and how to deal with them, right? Rather than truly believing that, well, there is no progress in technology at all. We're also going to really participate in other conferences with much more MongoDB content over time, right? There is many technical conferences, and that's quite welcome. As well as share our findings with our blog posts, webinars, white papers, and so on and so forth. So consider subscribing to our blog, even if you don't want, to go and be reader every day. You can subscribe to the weekly digest email and see what helps. So, how guys you can help? Well, we appreciate if you guys can test our MongoDB software. Give us some feedback, what works, what doesn't, what can you do better, what really you are missing in your case, right, and what prevents you from using fully open source environments, right, as well as consider becoming Percona customers and support us in building the open source software suite more. Now, the other thing to mention is, as I mentioned, we are putting out Percona Live conference in Amsterdam in October. Right now, the call for papers is open. So if you guys ever wanted to go to Amsterdam, speak on the conference, right, and enjoy a wonderful city, you know, submit a talk, get approval from your employer, and we would love to see you out there. As well, you're welcome to sponsor or attend the conference, right, if that fits you better. Well, thank you, and if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.